Start the class. Um, Today we are going to learn about nuclear power plant. Very very important. In the last class we have dealt with hydro power plant and steam power plant, and this is the third power plant which is used to generate electricity. So what is the purpose of these power plants? These power plants, whether it is a steam power plant or a hydro power plant or a nuclear power plant, what these three power plants are doing, they are generating electricity. So while generating electricity, we need some equipment that is called alternator and turbine. What is the purpose of alternator? Alternator is to produce the electricity, and turbine is to rotate the alternator. So to rotate the turbine, we need some energy, right? We need some kinetic energy. That kinetic energy we are producing in different forms, whether from nuclear energy or from hydro energy or from burning the coal and getting the steam. Here also, our nuclear power plant will be having the similar. Our nuclear power plant will have a similar construction of steam power plant, but only thing is that there we are using coal as a source of energy, and here we are going to use uranium as a source of energy. So what is uranium? Uranium is a compound, radioactive compound. When it is bombarded with neutrons, okay, it will change its structure, and it will give enormous amount of energy, enormous amount of energy. So that energy we are going to tap, and we are going to use it in our to uh, generate the required amount of heat. Okay, so how this nuclear power plant will look like, we are going to discuss now. So, going into the nuclear power plant station schematic arrangement, the main four parts of the nuclear power plant is: one is nuclear reactor. Okay, one is nuclear reactor. Second one is heat exchanger, and third one is steam turbine, and fourth one is alternator, and fourth one is alternator. So what are the four main parts which we are going to use? We are going to use four main parts. One is nuclear reactor, second one is heat exchanger, third one is steam turbine, and alternator. Alternator and steam turbine already we have seen in steam power plants, how this steam turbine will be used to run the alternator. Only two things that extra we have to learn in this nuclear power plant is about nuclear reactor and heat exchanger. So in the next slide, we are going to see about the schematic diagram of the nuclear power plant. So this is the nuclear reactor. So this is the nuclear reactor, and take white pen. This is the nuclear reactor. Okay. So from nuclear reactor, heat, hot metal will be circulated in the heat exchanger. Okay, heat exchanger, and in this heat exchanger we are circulating some water, and that water will come as a steam. That water will convert into steam because hot metal is going into this heat exchanger and coming out. Okay, coming out, and this hot metal will will what it will do, it will make the water convert into steam. So that steam we are giving it to turbine, and turbine will start rotating, and that turbine will rotate our alternator, and alternator will generate electricity, and it is collected by these three phase bus bars. Okay, three-phase bus bars will collect the electricity from the alternator. So this is one path. One path is from nuclear reactor to heat exchanger, and from heat exchanger to turbine, and turbine to alternator. This is one path. That means in the nuclear reactor, some fusion reaction will be there. Due to that fusion reaction, enormous amount of heat will be there, and that heat is carried by this hot metal, okay, hot metal into the heat exchanger. And in the heat exchanger, what will happen? The water gets heated up and it will convert into steam, and that steam will go into the turbine and it will rotate the alternator. This is path number 1. And the second path is from the turbine some water will be coming out and the remaining steam will be coming out. Once the steam enters the turbine, it will rotate the turbine and it will come out. And this is the second path. And this is the second path. So that steam will go into the condenser. That steam will go into the condenser, and cool water is some cool water is circulated into the condenser through the cooling tower. Through the cooling tower, what they are going to do? They are going to take some water from the river, and through the cooling tower, sorry, the arrow should be like this. From cooling tower, it will go into the condenser. Steam is coming like this, and cool water is coming like this. And in the condenser, what will happen? In the condenser, the steam will be cooled. Steam will be cooled, and it will be converted into hot water. That hot water is again fed to heat exchanger. That hot water is again fed to heat exchanger. So this is the path number 4. So first path is like this, second path is to condenser, and in the third path, what we are doing? We are converting the steam into water, hot water, by circulating the cold water from cooling towers, and that water we are feeding into again heat exchanger. Again heat exchanger will take the water and hot water, and from the hot metal again the heat will come. Already it is a hot water, so steam will be generated instantly, and that steam is again fed to turbine, and remaining steam is again come to condenser, and here it will convert into hot water, and that water will be fed to heat exchanger. Very simple procedure for generating the electricity. Once you got very hot metal from this nuclear reactor, then that metal is circulating in this. And again the fifth path is there. In the fifth path, that metal will go again back to the nuclear reactor. So the main thing which we have to learn in this schematic diagram is about nuclear reactor. Okay, so in the next slide we are going to learn about the nuclear reactor. So what is nuclear reactor? Nuclear reactor, it is nothing but the fuel that is used in the nuclear reactor is uranium 235. Uranium 235. Uranium 235 is kept in this reactor chamber, and and here fission will be taken place. What is meant by fission? This nuclear reactor will have the uranium U-35, and and we are going to use some neutrons to combine with this uranium 235, and it will convert into another form. And during that conversion, what will happen? It will release huge amount of energy. That energy is collected by the metal inside this chamber, and that metal will go into the heat exchanger. So from here, the metal will go into the heat exchanger, and here the metal will circulate. Hot metal will circulate, and it will come back. Again, the metal will go like this. This is the path for the metal. So this metal will absorb the heat from the uranium 235 when it is bombarded with neutrons. So the nuclear reactor will have uranium, one part, second part is moderator, and third is control rods. So to control all these process, we require moderator and control rods. If you don't have this moderator and control rods, what will happen is this uranium 235 fusion is a continuous process, and very very huge amount of energy will be coming out of this uranium, and that energy may not be used in this heat exchanger. So you have to control this energy, amount of energy. If you want less energy, less steam, less energy. If you want more steam, more energy. So these control rods will do the work for us. When you insert these control rods very deep, less amount of energy. If you pull these control rods back, more amount of energy. How it is going to happen, we'll see. The fuel rods consist of the fusion material and release huge amount of energy when bombarded with moving neutrons. When moving neutrons. So this blue color is uranium. This blue color rods are called uranium. And a moderator is kept beside the uranium, a moderator which is called a graphite, which are called graphite rods. Graphite rods are kept beside the uranium, which encloses the fuel rods. The moderator slows down the neutrons before they bombard the fuel rods. So, what this moderator will be doing? The moderator will be slowing down the neutrons before they bombard the fuel rods. So, fuel rods in neutron bombard chase process ni, it will slow down. This So what is the purpose of moderator? The moderator is made up of graphite rods. The moderator is nothing but the graphite rods which are kept beside the uranium in order to slow down the neutron bombarding with uranium. Okay, with uranium. Now, apart from the moderator, this is moderator. Apart from the moderator, there is a control rod. There are some control rods. So these control rods are cadmium. They are made up of cadmium and are inserted into the reactor. Cadmium is a strong neutron absorber. Suppose there are more number of neutrons in this chamber, more energy will come. So in order to absorb the excess neutrons, what we are doing? We are using this cadmium control rods. We are using these cadmium control rods to absorb the excess neutrons. If you absorb more neutrons, less amount of energy will come, and if you absorb very less number of neutrons, more amount of energy will be coming. So output from the steam output from the heat exchanger can be controlled by using these control rods. So by using these control rods, you can control the amount of energy that is coming in and out of the nuclear reactor. Thereby, you can control the amount of steam that is coming out of the heat exchanger. Okay, the heat produced by the reactor is removed by a coolant, generally a sodium metal. Generally, a sodium metal is used as a coolant. Okay, sodium metal is used as a coolant. This coolant carries the heat to the heat exchanger. Okay, from this nuclear reactor to heat exchanger, as I told you, a hot metal is used. That hot metal is nothing but your sodium metal. Hot metal is nothing but your sodium metal. So ఇక్కడ బ్లూ లైన్ తో డ్రా చేసి చూసారా, దిస్ బ్లూ లైన్ is nothing but your sodium metal, which is called coolant. It will it will it will what it will do? It will exchange the heat. It will take the heat from this nuclear reactor to the heat exchanger. So in the heat exchanger, what will happen? this coolant will have some heat. That heat is given to this water, and water is converted into steam, and steam will be going into the turbine. Steam will be going into the turbine from the heat exchanger by taking the heat from the coolant. This coolant will get the heat from the nuclear reactor. This will get the nuclear reactor. The heat exchanger. What the heat exchanger will do? The coolant gives a heat to the heat exchanger, which is utilized in raising the steam. After giving up the heat, the coolant is again fed to the reactor. After giving heat to the heat exchanger, this coolant will again come back to the reactor, and this circle goes on, and steam will be continuously fed to the turbine, and turbine will start rotating at a required speed. The speed can be controlled with a valve. The speed can be controlled with this valve. With this valve, you can control the speed of the turbine. If you are controlling the speed of the turbine, means you are controlling the speed of the alternator. Okay. Based on the load requirements, the alternator speed varies. The ns is the speed of the alternator. It will be varies based on the load. So in order to adjust the speed of the alternator, we have to adjust the speed of the turbine. So speed of the turbine depends upon the steam input. So this valve is utilized to control the speed of the turbine, so that the speed of the alternator can be controlled. That steam which is generated by the heat exchanger, it will go into the steam turbine. So the steam turbine produced in the heat exchanger, the steam produced in the heat exchanger is used or led into steam turbine through a valve. After doing a useful work in the turbine, the steam is exhausted in the condenser. The condenser condenses the steam, which is fed to the heat exchanger through the feed water pump. What is feed water pump? This is your feed water pump. So steam, after coming from the turbine, it will go into the condenser, and in the condenser, with the help of these cooling towers, you are going to cool the steam to water, and that water will be fed into this heat exchanger through the feed water pump. So this is the function of steam turbine. So what is the function of steam turbine? It will take the steam from the heat exchanger, it will rotate the turbine, and after rotating, the excess steam will be coming out of the steam turbine, and it will be condensed. How it will be condensed? It will be condensed with the help of condenser. What is the input to the condenser? Steam and the cool water from the cooling towers. And what is the output of the condenser? Hot water. That hot water is fed to the heat exchanger. The next one is alternator. The next part is alternator. So what this alternator will be doing? As you know, when the steam turbine drives the alternator, the converts mechanical energy into electrical energy. The alternator will convert the mechanical energy into electrical energy. This electrical energy is delivered to bus bars through transformers, circuit breakers, and isolators. So how this is happening, we are going to learn in the next chapters. Okay, next chapters, when we are dealing with alternator, we will learn how this energy is generated and how it is going into the load centers through bus bars. Okay. Now, I have a small problem for you. Just listen, don't write. Anyhow, I am going to share this slide to you. An atomic power reactor can deliver 300 megawatts. If due to fission of each atom of 90 to U-235, uranium-235 number is 90 to U-235. The energy released is 200 mega electron volts. 200 mega electron volts. Okay, calculate the mass of the uranium fissioned per hour. Fission per hour. What is this statement is, by releasing 200 mega electron volts, okay, we can get 300 megawatts of energy. So to get 200 mega electron volts, how much uranium you need? How much uranium we have to we have to uh, use for fission? Use for fission. So 300 megawatts is nothing but 3 into 10 to the power of 8 watts. 300 megawatts can be written as 3 into 10 to the power of 8 watts. Energy received per hour is equal to 3 into 10 to the power of 8 into 3600. So per hour, multiply with 3600, then you are going to get 108 into 10 to the power of 10 joules. Watts in time to multiply చేస్తే, if you multiply watts with time, what will happen? You will get the value in joules. So this is your 108 into 10 to the power of 10 joules. Okay, joules of energy is received per hour. Energy released is 200 milli, sorry, mega electron volts. Already it is given as 200. So 200 is converted into joules, that is 3.2 into 10 to the power of minus 11 joules. Mega electron volts is converted. You multiply it 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19. You are going to get 3.2 into 10 to the power of minus 11 joules. So 3.22 into 10 to the power of minus 11 joules of energy is released to generate 108 into 10 to the power of 10 joules of energy. So number of atoms fission per hour is equal to 108. Energy received by energy fissioned. This is energy received and this is energy fissioned. Okay, that means output by input. Simply output by input. This is the output energy we got, and this is the input we are giving. So the number of atoms is 33.5 into 10 to the power of 21 atoms. 33.75 into 10 to the power of 21 atoms are used. Atoms are used to atoms are participated in the fission process and released 300 megawatts. And what you can understand from this, you can understand like this: 33 into 10 to the power of 21 atoms are participating in the fission process to release 300 megawatts of energy. 300 megawatts of energy. Okay. Now, each 1 gram of atom is 6 point into 10 to the power of 23. Okay. 1 gram of atom, that is 230, has 235 grams, has 6 into 10 to the power of 23 atoms. సో దీన్ని ఈ atom's in mass లోకి మార్చేస్తే, if you convert into mass, 235 by 6.3 into 33.75 and 25, that is 13.17 grams of uranium is required. 13.17 grams of uranium is required to deliver 300 megawatts of energy. So to get 300 megawatts of energy, how much grams of uranium you require? 13.17 grams of, okay, 13.17 grams of uranium you require. Okay.